A while back, like years ago, I made a game settings video for 7 Days to Die. There have been many changes since that video was released, so I've decided to revisit the topic. I'm going to go over every single game setting, what it does, and my recommendations for new or returning players. First setting is region. There is too many options here, so just pick what region is closest to you. For example, I am in the Southwest United States, so I will pick North America West. Server visibility. Not listed, friends, or public. Pick public if you want randoms, that is, random players to join. Friends only. That means only Steam friends on your Steam friends list can join. Pick this if you want multiplayer without randoms. Not listed if you want the game to be private and want to play solo. I suggest setting it to friends, but it's really your preference. As with all settings, you can change this at any time. Game password if you want to prevent randoms from joining your game. I would always put a password unless you want PvP or randoms to join. Let's be honest here. Most randoms are trolls or player killers, unless you're running a dedicated server and are encouraging random players to join. Max players. This is how many players your game can hold at a time. So set it to how many friends will be playing. Example, if I have 3 friends, set it to 4 players. Okay, difficulty settings. This is a big one for obvious reasons. This sets how difficult the zombies are. The higher this is, the more damage you will take from zombies and traps. It also increases how difficult it is to kill those zombies. For your first game, I would set it to Adventurer. For returning players, I would not set it higher than Nomad. Like all settings, you can change it at any time. So if it's too easy, raise this setting. If you are dying a lot, consider lowering the setting. 24-hour cycle. This is how long each day is from 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. The default is 60 minutes. I recommend leaving this where it is if you're new or returning. Daylight length is how many hours you want the sun to be up. The default is 18 hours. This means the sun will rise at 4 a.m. or 0400 and nighttime will begin at 2200 or 10 p.m. I recommend leaving this setting where it is if you are new or returning. Blood moon frequency. This is how often you want Horde Night to occur. I recommend every 14 days for the first 2 weeks, then setting it to every 7 days after day 14 if you are new or returning, or if you like to build like I do or are playing at a high zombie difficulty. Obviously, the lower the number, the more difficult the game will be. Blood moon range. Change this only if you want Horde Night to be random. Setting this to anything but 0 can make the game a lot tougher, because it can make planning in general a lot more difficult. I would leave it on 0 for returning or new players. Blood moon warning. This governs when you get warned about Horde Night. When triggered, you will see the time in red below your compass. It has a negligible effect on difficulty, so you can just leave it on default. Blood moon count. How many zombies attack at one time during Horde Night? If you have it set to 8, then you will get 8 zombies at a time. When you kill one, another will spawn, but only if the total zombie live count is below 8. If you're new or returning or have multiple players, I recommend putting it on 4. Anything higher than that can be extremely difficult and can create more lag. Zombie day speed. Pretty self-explanatory. How fast do you want the zombies during daytime? There are 5 speed levels. Zombie speed, like difficulty, has a very big impact on the game. Obviously, the faster the zombies, the more difficult the game is in general. I recommend starting at walk or jog if you're new. Run if you're returning and want more challenge. Nightmare is extremely difficult and also very unpredictable and glitchy. If you're a hardcore player but the zombies are so janky or glitchy that it is unplayable, try Sprint. Zombie night speed is how fast you want them during nighttime. Nighttime starts at 2200 by default. Zombie feral speed. This is how fast you want the zombies with the glowing eyes to be. Zombie blood moon speed is how fast you want zombies to be during Horde Night. Zombie feral sense basically makes the zombies always know where you are like they do during Horde Night. There's off, day, night, and all, as in all the time. I highly recommend keeping this off if you are new or returning. Persistent profiles being on means people can't change your character's look from what you already have in your settings. XP multiplier. This is how much XP you get during the game. If you want a slower, grindier game, stick to the default of 100%. I have been comfortable with 200% for a while. The problem with 100% is that at some point it becomes almost impossible to level without endless grinding. However, if it's your first time playing, I would try 100% first. Then, if you're finding it too annoying or grindy, you can always crank it up higher to 200% or 300% as you get to higher levels in the game. Player block damage. How much damage you do to voxels, buildings, objects, etc. Anything that's not an enemy entity. I would keep this 100% if you are new or returning. AI block damage. How much damage zombies do to your base or structures, objects, etc. Non-entities and not players. I would also keep this at 100%. AI Blood Moon block damage. Block damage during Horde Night. I would leave this at 100% as well. Obviously, the higher the AI block damage, the more difficult the game will be. The lower the player block damage, the more difficult the game will be as well. Loot abundance applies to the amount of loot you get. I would leave this at 100% if you are new or returning. 200% if you want to play creative. Wink wink. Loot respawn time. This is how many days till loot containers respawn. This is really your preference. With questing being a thing, it has a negligible impact on the game. Chunk reset time. This has a bigger impact. This will set how many days till the trees, containers, blocks, etc. respawn. From how I understand it, it's like what happens when you accept a quest and it resets the building you're questing in. Keep this off if you don't want your block changes outside your base to be undone. Drop on death. There are 5 settings. If you have to lose something when you die, I would suggest dropping your backpack, since the items you need to function are on your tool belt. If you are new, I suggest setting it to nothing. If that bugs you too much, you can always set it later. There is still a death penalty even if you turn this off, so you will always get punished for dying. Drop on quit. What you drop when you log out. I would just keep this at nothing if you are new or returning. If you want to just focus on survival building mechanics of the game instead of fighting, you can turn enemy spawning off. I highly recommend turning this on so you can learn the zombies if you're new or returning. Airdrops. This sets how often you want special airdrops when you are playing. I think every 3 days is a good setting for beginners. Creative mode. If you want creative like in Minecraft, or you need to fix something, you can leave this off and just turn it on manually in-game with a command if you need it. Mark airdrop sets whether or not you can see the airdrop marker and sprite in your UI and on your compass in the top middle of your screen. Leave this on if you like knowing where your airdrop is. Player killing. This is basically the amount of PvP you're willing to do. Set it to no killing if you don't want PvP. The rest governs your land claim block and bedroll. The last important setting is party shared kill range. This is how close you need to be to an ally to get their zombie kill experience. Setting this to 10,000 blocks will make it so that all party members in the game will always get your zombie kill experience, regardless of where you are. This is great for players in the group who aren't able to do a lot of looting and fighting, aka they are busy building or resource gathering. That's it. I hope that was helpful. If you like my stuff, you know what to do. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.